So, we've decided to go on an elk hunt in 2 to 3 years. What is that going to take? Hey guys, and welcome to another episode on Northwoods Exploration. And today I have my good buddy Jordan with us of Mojave Drifter Trucking.
How you doing?
So Jordan and I, as I said in the intro, have decided to go on an elk hunt. We're planning to do this about 2 to 3 years out, not only because it's going to run us probably about $4,000 a piece. Don't tell the wife. And plus, we're both big guys, probably not in the best shape. And so what we're wanting to do is start a new series answering the question, what is it going to take to go on an elk hunt? And what we're really looking at doing is a drop camp hunt in northwestern Colorado. We haven't decided on a guide yet, but we're looking at several different options. But we know that we want to do this. And if we're really honest with ourselves, we also know that we're going to have to get in some better shape to accomplish this.
Absolutely. I had a hunt in the Midwest just a couple of years ago, and I shot what was turned out to be a yearling buck. I thought it was a small doe. Took the shot at about 90 yards in muzzleloader season. And good clean kill, dropped it in one shot. It didn't even run anywhere, and fell right where it was when I hit it. And then I had to drag it about 500 yards across a wet field that had been a cornfield and had already been harvested. And admittedly, it was a bit clayey, the soil, but it was an absolute nightmare to be hauling my black powder gear and my black powder rifle and this 90-pound deer through that terrain to get out to the road where I could then load it up and take it in. And that was an eye-opening experience for me. And having always wanted to do an elk hunt, I realized, boy, if I'm struggling this much in relatively simple conditions in the Midwest, what will it be like if I'm in the Rocky Mountains and going after elk? So once I decided I definitely want to do an elk hunt, it's not just a fantasy or a dream, but it's an actual goal. I have to do something to improve my stamina, my endurance, my strength, so that I am able to spend 5 or 6 days hiking around in those kinds of inclines and declines. And of course, at that elevation, you're also going to have thinner air. So the lungs will be inhaling deeper to get the same amount of oxygen. It will be a real challenge. And I don't want to get out there and have spent the time and the money and have all my hopes and excitement about it, only to realize that after day 1 or day 2, I am absolutely exhausted. And I don't want to limit my hunt to immediately where the drop camp is. I want to be able to hike several miles a day, each day, and get out to the best possible spots. So I definitely have to do something to improve my strength, to improve my stamina, and really, I probably need to lose some weight as well.
That's both of us, man. That's both of us, yeah. I remember years ago, this has probably been about 10, 11 years ago, maybe a little bit more. I was still living in Alabama at the time, and I was hiking on this wildlife refuge off of the Flint Creek, which is a creek that runs off of the Tennessee River in northern Alabama. And there was a ridge you had to scale depending on where you went in. It was 30 feet to 60 feet. Like I took actual like climbing gear with me to get in just to be safe. I mean, sometimes I could manage my way down the ridge, but sometimes you really wanted to have something to hold on to. So, but I
Yeah.
remember going in and hiking all day long in the creek basin, then climbing out. My calves are burning, my quads are burning, my forearms are burning from pulling myself. You know, I have a line. I'm sitting there, you know, inching up, you know, climbing up the ridge. And I remember sitting on top of that ridge and looking down and thinking, man, I dread the day I'm not able to do this anymore. And I think about how much time I spend in the woods now. I spend as much time every single weekend, probably too much time every week, honestly, if there is such a thing, in the woods, out at my cabin, hiking. I've done some small game hunting this fall already. Um, video, video coming with that, by the way. Um, but you know, going out doing some hiking and doing some exploring, and you know, I see where I'm at physically. And if I can't handle hiking around in the creek that's 30 feet, you know, below the ridge where my cabin's built, you know, how am I going to handle the Rocky Mountains? And you think about like altitude sickness. You also think about, you know, like we're going to have to carry whatever we shoot, we're going to have to process and carry out. And depending on the guide, you know, yeah, some will actually come and help you carry it back to the drop camp, but some of them, no, you got to carry it all the way back yourself and process it. And then not even to really get into the survival aspect of it, where if something does go wrong, you know, what are we going to do? I mean, you hear about these seasoned hikers that get up in the Rockies and then it all just falls apart. Well, yeah, I can have all the skill and all the knowledge in the world, but if I don't have the physical ability to do it, what good is that going to do me? So I know where I'm at physically, and I know to do this hunt, I'm going to have to drop the weight. I'm going to have to get in better shape. I mean, I not only want to be in better shape, I guess, but just having more endurance, having more stamina, being able to be out in the woods for days at a time, handle rough terrain, carry a lot of weight on my back. And, you know, to do that, I'm going to have to make a plan. And I think that's one thing that both of us have really done. Both of us have some different ways of going about our plans. But Jordan, if you want to kick us off with that, just kind of explain a little bit about your plan.
Well, and that's you know, our circumstances are so radically different that what's going to work for you can't possibly work for me.
Yeah.
I'm a truck driver full time, and if I want to do any kind of a routine, it's got to be something that can be done at the truck or at a truck stop or at a rest area. I don't have consistent access to a gym. And I'm not even consistently home. Uh, I'm doing well if I'm home every other weekend. So as I sat and thought my way through what is going to work for me, and I've watched a number of YouTube videos from truckers who are staying in shape, and I've looked at what they have to offer, and I've decided what's going to work best for me to start. Is this the very best thing on the planet? No, I'm not making that claim. It seems reasonable to me, and it's something that I am confident that I can complete and that it will get things kicked off and started. I'm going to do a 12-week full body dumbbell routine. I found it online, downloaded the PDF, and printed it off, and it tells me what to do, how many reps, and what kind of motion it is. So I have one day that's dedicated to chest and arms, one day that is dedicated to legs, one day that is dedicated to the torso, and then one day that's like a full body rundown. And so that's a 4 day a week routine. And it takes about a half an hour to complete. And what I'm going to add to that is walking for a half an hour each day. And so that's how I intend to start off my day. This is a 12-week program, and I'm going to start off at a very lightweight, actually, 10-pound dumbbells, because I'm completely starting, you know. I live a very sedentary lifestyle, so, and I'm also in my mid 40s now, so not exactly a spring chicken, and I need to start somewhere. And the big thing for me is picking something that I'm not going to hurt myself, and I'm going to have a reasonably high chance of succeeding. And so for the exercise portion, that's it. Walking 6 days a week. I'm going to take Sundays off, and then 4 days a week doing the dumbbell routine with obviously a day of no dumbbells in between for recovery. And then as far as diet goes, it's difficult as a driver to eat decent food at all. Um, my truck is too small for a refrigerator and certainly too small to be cooking in. That's not really an option for me. And food on the road is sort of whatever you can get. So what I've decided is that I need to do a low carb, high protein, high fat, high veggie diet. And what I'm going to shoot for is Monday through Saturday, one meal a day. And on Sunday, I like to go to church, and I'm going to just basically go with whatever happens after church. If people invite me out, then I'm going to go with them, wherever that may be, and make the best choices that I can make. Um, this year, I'm doing a year with no soda pop. I've been doing that all year, and that's not been a problem, but I have allowed myself like Gatorade Zero and things like that. For these 12 weeks, it's straight black coffee, no creamer, no sugar substitutes or sugar or anything like that, no sweeteners of any kind. Just straight black coffee and water, nothing added to the water, no flavorings, nothing. So water only, black coffee only, and a low carb diet to the best of my ability. You know, on the road again, it is challenging. I have I have done things like this before and had great success with Subway wraps. Those aren't so many carbs that they mess with me. So when that's a possibility, I want to take advantage of that, and then again, just make the best choices that I can food wise. On days when Subway is not an option or when I need something different from Subway, which happens, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my plan, and I'm gonna again do a 12-week thing. I actually have made up. You won't be able to read it, but a little workout journal for myself, and in here I have what my goals are and where I'm currently at. I've measured my chest, measured my biceps, measured my belly, and so I know where I'm starting at. Of course, I had my initial weigh-in, and I have my goals that I've set for myself, and then I have every single day of the 12 weeks written out in here, where I can mark down what did I eat that day, what did I drink that day, and whether I completed my exercise plans. And then for each week, I have an inspirational quote from the Bible about self control and about taking care of your body. So I'm hoping that's going to keep me inspired as I go along. You know, self discipline is doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether or not you want to do it. And I take this also, this 12-week challenge for me is really a matter of self control and self discipline. And if I'm going to make this, now that it's become a goal for me to actually go on an elk hunt instead of just a dream, a fantasy, it's something I intend to do. And in 3 years or less, Um, what I don't want to have happen is that I get out there to Colorado and I'm ready to go. I get dropped off at camp. I've got my gear and I just can't hack it. I would be really depressed if that happened, and I just decided that's not going to happen. The way that's not going to happen is to start moving in that direction. And really, what I think is great is that we both decided, okay, reasonable thing is 2 or 3 years we can do an elk hunt. And one of the very first things that we thought about and talked about as we made up our minds that yes, this is a goal, we're going to do this, was okay, now how do we make sure that we're in shape to actually handle it? So this
Yeah.
is step 1, 12 weeks. This will get me through January, into the middle of January 2023. And at that point in time, I will stop and reassess. Whether I find something better or not along the way, I don't care. I've made up my mind. This 12-week dumbbell program is what I'm going to do, and I am going to finish it and complete it as an exercise in self-control, self-discipline. I'm going to follow the diet plan as a matter of self-control and self-discipline, and just get the ball rolling in the right direction. And yeah, so that's my plan. What about you? What do you got going on?
So, as Jordan mentioned, our situations are quite different. I work from home for a tech company based out of Duluth, Minnesota, and
Just
so
water, by the way. If you heard the fizz, it's not soda pop. It's carbonated water.
yeah, that's actually a huge change, and I'll get to that here in a second with my plan because I've also given up sodas, and I have kind of an interesting story from yesterday about that. But yeah, so my plan is quite a bit different because I am at home and I have an extremely stable schedule. My biggest challenge is, first of all, winter. It's a warm day today. It's in the lower 70s, but we're going to have storms. It's going to knock us back down into the 40s and 50s for highs, lows in the 20s and 30s, which is standard for northern Wisconsin in the month of October, especially late October. But after probably, I'd say the second week of December, you can't really do a whole lot outside, like bike ride. I mean, you can get a fat tired bike. I don't enjoy having to worry about falling and busting my skull on concrete and ice, though. So I don't think so. So I'm going to try and get into snowshoeing and stuff like that. But my plan has to take winter into account. It also has to take into account that I'm a family man. So what that means is, I guess, really two things. First of all, my family's dietary needs are very different from mine. I'm not going to focus on this, but basically, I am a type 2 diabetic, so doing things like intermittent fasting, that type of stuff, is very helpful for my blood sugars. Whereas my family is not diabetic, and so, they have different nutritional needs than what I do. And then I think the other thing as well is just the simple fact of, with my schedule, I'm at home. And if I have the right foods, I can actually cook them. So my plan is going to be in 3 phases. The first phase is going to be for 4 weeks, and I'm basically going keto. And I'm not really a recipe kind of guy. Give me a slab of meat and give me some Brussels sprouts or give me some broccoli. I want meat and I want veggies. And I'm perfectly happy fat man with that. And so what I'm going to do for these first 4 weeks is I'm going to do 1 meal a day. That meal will consist of meat and veggies, and basically eating every 20 hours. So everything I eat in that one day has to fit within a 4-hour span. And that's probably going to be between the hours of 10 and 2. Just because if I don't eat something in the middle of the day, I'm not a breakfast guy. I mean, what do I eat for breakfast? Coffee, Black Rifle, AK-47 blend. Thank you. And no, they did not sponsor this video. I just like their products that much. So, I mean, this is, black coffee is my standby in the mornings. Gotta have it. I probably drink a pot a day. Everyone's got their crutches, I guess. Some people smoke a pack a day. I drink a pot a day. I don't do pot. I drink a pot of coffee. Let's get things clear here, okay? But these first 4 weeks, eating 1 meal a day, going keto, which actually isn't that bad, frankly, but it is a huge adjustment eating everything within a 20-hour period. I'm going to do that for 4 weeks for exercise. I'm going to continue biking. I'm usually biking about 5 or 6 miles a day. I use my bike to get around town, and basically I'll do that until the snow flies. And then after the snow flies, I'm trying to find a good pair of snowshoes so I can still get out to the cabin in the winter. And as far as like gear, my gear is rated for -60. I'm not really worried about the temps too much. But now we'll do a follow-up on that in the middle of January when it's 60 below zero and I'm trying to go out, or not wanting to go out. But for the first phase, 4 weeks, 1 meal a day, everything within a 4-hour period, going keto. And for exercise, I'm going to try and get outdoors more. There's a gym here in town that's open 24 hours. Thinking about joining that. It's a little bit more expensive than what I want, but I'm kind of a night owl, so it would actually work pretty well to get the wife and I put the little one down to bed, and then maybe about 9 to 10 o'clock after she's in bed, go over to the gym, because I'm usually staying up till 11 to midnight anyway. But that's the first phase. The second phase, and this will depend on how the weight loss goes, but anyone that's tried to lose weight knows after the first 20 pounds, it's really, really, really tough. I mean, some people might be 10. I just have more to lose. But like for me, the first 20 pounds are generally fairly easy to lose, but then your metabolism re-regulates. And so I think phase 2, and this will be an additional 4 weeks, I believe. And all this is subject to change with how my body reacts. Like if I'm losing weight with eating 1 meal a day, then cool, I might do 6 or 8 weeks of just eating once a day. But as for right now, the plan is after 4 weeks, because I anticipate losing 20 to 30 pounds the first 4 weeks. To get more poundage off, I'm going to switch to true intermittent fasting, where basically I would eat on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Sunday. Sundays are hard. Like, both of us are church-going guys, and so, with us, the family goes out to lunch after church every single Sunday, and usually they go to a Culver's, which, if you don't know what Culver's is, it's the closest thing to Chick-fil-A above the Mason-Dixon line. That's the best way I can describe it. Just like, Quick Trip is basically if Chick-fil-A made a gas station. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But anyway, we like to go to Culver's, or at least the family likes to go to Culver's, I would say, here in town after church. And so good thing is they do have some decent options. But Sundays are tough. Sundays are really tough. But in those 4 weeks, I would just eat Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I'll see how my body functions, how my body handles these changes. Because if I don't have to cut more, then that's fine. I'm perfectly content eating the 1 meal a day. I did that before I tore my right rotator cuff and bicep tendon years back. I was doing that and lost a ton of weight just eating once a day and going keto, basically. The interesting thing about the drinks, though, I've heard for years people say, oh, don't drink diet drinks. It still raises your blood sugar. And I thought they were just full of hot air. Well, studies have shown that when, I'm going to go nerdy here for just a minute, but studies have shown that diet drinks will raise your blood sugar. And it's not because they have sugar in them or the artificial sugar itself raises your blood sugar. So what happens is your body senses these sugar substitutes, and your body anticipates the coming sugar. And so what your body does is it produces the insulin preemptively. Well, if you're type 2 diabetic, then where does that insulin go? Because your cells cannot absorb it. So what happens is it goes in your liver, it messes up your kidneys, and it basically raises your blood sugar. I'll give a great example. Yesterday morning, my blood sugar in the morning was like 146 or 148, something like that. And I went to go get the family some breakfast, and I stopped off at Quick Trip on the way back and got a Diet Dr. Pepper. Drank it, haven't eaten anything. I get home and test my blood sugar, 311.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, this whole thing that all these studies have shown about diet sodas, yeah, they will raise your blood sugar, not because they have sugar, but because of your body's reaction to the sugar, the artificial sugar. So, because that insulin's got to do something, it's got to go somewhere. But anyway, so I, like Jordan, have basically gone with black coffee, sometimes green tea, or like a throat coat tea if I get a sore throat or something, or just water. I've pretty much cut milk out completely. I don't really care for milk. I have not sworn off dairy because, well, I live in Wisconsin. We like our cheese, and plus it's not high in carbs. So that's one of the best things because I can cook up some hamburger meat and throw some cheddar cheese in there. Oh, perfect. Or put it on my broccoli. So this will mean I have to cook a lot more at home, which is hard because, like, when I first started this job working remotely, man, I was ordering food every stinking day. Cheeseburgers and fries and pizza and you name it. And the good thing is I can still eat things like burgers. I just can't eat the bun. And a lot of places, it's one good development that a lot of places have healthier options because I think people these days are more mindful of their health because we do have a lot more information. But the bottom line is if I don't lose the weight and in turn also add the exercise to increase my endurance, like I love to do cardio, but the only way I'm doing cardio is biking, most likely. I have a torn meniscus in my, I won't go through all my injuries, but basically I've got too many injuries to be running at this point. I mean, I'm 37, I'll be 38 in another month. I'm not old. I mean, you might not know that from the gray in the beard, but I'm not old, but I'm not all that young. And the years, when you do some of the things that, done work some of the jobs that I've worked, I mean, just my time in law enforcement alone left me pretty banged up. So, I mean, I have to take care of myself as I get older. And if I want to do this hunt, like you said, Jordan, I don't want to get out there and not be able to cut it. Or I get out there and I twist my knee, and then my weight just exacerbates the problem.
Well, and not just for this particular hunt. My preferred method of hunting, though I hunt muzzleloader, I hunt shotgun, I hunt high power rifle, and I'm very interested in getting into pistol hunting. But my main thing is bow hunting. And I do that from an elevated tree stand. I have elevated tree stands that you go out and just climb the tree and hang them on there for the season. And I also have a climber that you use every single time. You actually climb the tree with it and climb back down with it. And I have noticed in the last couple of years that it's harder and harder to do that. And I don't just want to be able to go on an elk hunt in a few years. Sorry, if you see me moving around, my adorable dog here is in desperate need of attention, apparently. I want to be able to hunt for the rest of my life. A great inspiration. I used to live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. A great inspiration to me, a buddy of mine's father, who was in his late 80s. Now, he wasn't able to go out to deer camp and stay out there for 2 full weeks and hunt from sunrise to sunset and all of that. But he still went out and he still hunted. And, of course, he needed help if he got something, but he also still had success. He was still shooting bucks
Hmm.
in his 80s with a 30-30 Winchester with iron sights, which
Wow.
is just
That's
as
all.
Clint
That's
Eastwood
amazing.
as it gets.
Yeah.
you know and
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm going to live into my 80s for one, but if I do, I mean, I doubt I'll still be able to bow hunt, but I would love it if I could still get out and rifle hunt, even if it was, more symbolic than anything else and just going out for one day or something like that. Um, so I love hunting. I've always wanted to be a hunter. When I was a child, I wanted to go hunting. I had the unfortunate experience of growing up in a city. So I was in a concrete jungle instead of in the woods. But as a grown man, once I had those kinds of decision making powers, I moved to the country and I started hunting, and it is my hobby. It's what I love. I look forward to it all year round, and then when it gets here, it's like Christmas for a little kid. It's
Yeah.
exciting, and I love it. So, one of the reasons I picked the career that I picked and decided to go self-employed is because I want the freedom to take the time off to go hunting when I want to go hunting. And I've been really blessed. I've gone on a number of interesting and enjoyable hunts in the last few years that I've been self-employed. And I want that to continue on for the rest of my life. So to the extent that I am able to do something to address, I mean, it's not like I'm old, but I don't heal as fast as I did when I was in my 20s.
Hmm.
I tweaked my knee like 4 years ago, and it's still not 100%.
Yeah.
And I have arthritis now. Like you, I'm not going to go into all my injuries, but I don't need to be packing around the extra weight. It's not helping me at all, and it's becoming a hindrance to doing what I love. So
Yeah.
I need to address it, and I need to be serious about it and have a real plan. And I'm serious about it, and I've got a real plan, so that's
Yeah.
good. One of the things I didn't mention earlier, one of the things I've done in the past. This isn't the first time that I have lost weight. I wanted to go into the military and different things like that. So I've had different times in my life where I've had to lose weight. Um, it's easy to get discouraged by stepping on the scale every day. It's even easy to get discouraged by stepping on the scale every week. Um, One of the things you have to remember if you've got some weight to lose is you did not gain it overnight. You're not losing it overnight. So I made the decision that in this 12-week program, what I'm going to do is have a bi-weekly weigh-in.
Hmm.
And I think that is going to be a better choice for me. Yeah, it's going to be a better choice. I like that
Yeah.
idea, and it gives me something to look forward to. And I'm pretty confident that in a 2-week period of time, there's going to be some weight loss. And so that's the goal. And then
Yeah.
once I finish this 12 weeks, then it will be a matter of considering what should I do next. There are different things that are available. There's a bow exercising unit that I could absolutely have in my truck with me. And you can increase the poundage up to like 120 pounds. And so then you're actually working the rhomboids, which are, next
Hmm.
to your shoulder blades. And those are the muscles that really get worked out when you're doing archery, which I do year round anyway. I love archery itself. It's not just bow hunting. That's not the only time of the year I pick up the bow. I love going to the range frequently.
Hmm.
And so that might be something that I add into as well for whatever the next round is. And I've got 12 weeks to figure out what that is. I like the idea of coming up with like a time frame. This is how long I'm going to do this program and complete it. Not only because you get the boost of completing a program and then moving on to another program and completing it. I did a college degree, and there's some significance to having like semesters. So you do whatever. If you do, I studied German, so German 1 is 1 semester. You complete the program. You go into German 2. That's 1 semester. You complete the program, etc. And so I do well with that. I know I do well with that. There's something about having that kind of a time frame that works for me. One of the things we discussed though is that like we're not going on a diet,
No.
and we're
No.
not going on like a limited time frame health improvement thing. We are looking for a way to change the way that we eat for life, and to change um, the way that we exercise for life.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
step one in a lifelong journey where I have every intention of carrying on in some capacity, and I don't know what those needs will be until I get through this, and then I can figure out what step
Mhm.
two is and come up with another program. I don't know if they're all going to be 12 weeks or whatever, but that's going to
Yeah.
work for me. And one of the things, in talking about different injuries and complications, it seems like anymore I have an annual winter illness. And I've had to take into consideration that, okay, so I'm starting this in essentially the end of October. It's going to go through the middle of January. What are the chances that I'm going to get the flu or something like that in that time frame?
Mhm.
Really high, really high. So we'll see. It's going to have its challenges, but my intention is to absolutely see it through, and move on to the next step in this journey.
Yeah. I know for me, I mentioned like, oh, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, etc. Um, I guess I'm not really thinking of my phases um, in terms of time frame as much as I am thinking of them in terms of progress. So I
Yeah.
remember there was one summer. This is before I had my rotator cuff and bicep tendon tear. The summer before that, I went to the gym and didn't really focus on cardio, just worked on weight training, lifting weights every single day. I think I took Sundays off, and that was basically it. And I alternated upper body and lower body workouts every other day. And I couldn't be concerned about the scale because I actually put on 14 pounds of muscle in about 2 months.
Yeah.
I lost like 6 inches on my waist, but I gained 14 pounds of muscle. And so, like, I don't weigh myself every single day. I like to do a weigh in on Fridays just to see where I'm at. But if I'm going to really measure my progress, it's not on the scale. I mean, I'll see it obviously because I want to lose body fat, but with doing weight training, I'm not expecting to uh, let the scale be my 100% litmus test. But I took measurements of my waist, my chest, my arms as I'm seeing progress in those departments. Not necessarily the arms, I'm more concerned about my waistline.
Yeah.
These changes go a long way in telling me, okay, I've lost X amount of inches on my waist. Well, that the body fat's what I'm wanting to lose. Like, I'll admit, I kind of started on some of these things earlier in the week, just eating once a day, and like my suit coat that I wore this morning, this Sunday morning. Hey, it fits a lot better.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's really what I'm going for. And yes, I'm going to have to buy some new tactical belts for outdoor things whenever as things change. But one other thing I wanted to mention. This is what really, I guess, got me thinking about this. So one of the podcasts I listened to, and once again, no sponsorships, no connection with this podcast, but I listened to the Backcountry Hunting podcast by Joseph Von Benedict. I will put a link in the description below. But there was one particular podcast that he had in which these three women were doing a drop camp in northern Alaska, maybe 50, 60 miles south of Barrow. And for those of you that don't know, Google Barrow, Alaska. There's actually a really good video on YouTube. It'll probably be the first thing that comes up. But it talks about Barrow. It's right on the Arctic Circle. Like you see the glacier north of Barrow when you're standing on the shore. They were south of that, but maybe 50, 60 miles, give or take. And it might be more or less. I don't remember. All I know is they were a long way from Fairbanks and Anchorage. Let's put it that way. And I'm sitting there listening to this podcast as I'm working, and I'm thinking, I want to do a drop camp hunt, but that's a whole other world that far north. And Von Benedict asked them, well, what are you doing for training? And I'm listening to what these women are doing, whether it's mountain biking or cardio or weight training. And I'm just thinking, I can't hold a candle to this. Yeah. I mean, being that far north in Alaska, does that sound like something I'd want to do? Not right now, at least. Let's put it this way, though. Because of the issues with wildlife, they are taking Magnum rifles, Magnum-powered rifles. So, which is smart, because that far north, you even have to worry about polar bears, I think, right? Probably. Yeah. Yeah, no thank you. Most bears don't hunt you. Polar bears have been known to follow explorers completely across glaciers to hunt them down and kill them in their sleep. So that's not, you know, wolves or black bears or even grizzly bears or coyotes. Like, it's a whole other world up there. But I'm listening to this podcast and I just think, my goodness, this is what I've got to do to get in shape. And I think about all the things that they said that they were doing to get in shape, and I'm thinking, I'm a fat and furry bushcrafter. I go out to my cabin and I stay out there several days and do some small game hunting, or I'll explore in the ravine, or there will be some public land that I want to go and explore. Maybe not so much this time of year because of deer hunting, bow hunting opened. I think October 1st, I believe, opened here. And the gun season doesn't start till the last week of November. But basically, from October 1st through pretty much the end of the year, you can't really do a whole lot of exploring because of deer hunters. Don't want to cause problems there. But that's the kind of stuff that I do. I mean, you guys see my videos. I scuba dive in the summer, and I bushcraft in the fall and winter. That's what I do. I'm not climbing up the Rocky Mountains. I'm not walking 10 miles a day. I mean, I might on a hike, but how much mountainous terrain do we actually have here unless I go like over to the Porkies or, in the UP, or, there's a couple, I wouldn't necessarily call them mountains because they don't hold a candle to the Rockies or even the Appalachians, but on the Bayfield Peninsula, we have Mount Valhalla. We also have Mount Asheville Bay. But these are molehills in comparison to the Rockies. So, yeah. I've hiked those areas, but I look at what I need to do to be in that kind of shape, and it's like, okay, if this is what I need to do, this is what I have to do. And I appreciate podcasts like what Joseph Von Benedict puts out with the Backcountry Hunting podcast, because he's very real about what you're going to have to do. And he makes no bones about it. Like, you're going to have to get in shape if you're going to do a backcountry hunt. And because you're not only carrying your weight, as a hiker, when I go into the woods, I try to keep my pack under 30 pounds. But when I would go into the Appalachians when I was in college, and I would be on the Appalachian Trail, where I had the habit of getting off the trail quite a bit. Got me into trouble a couple of times, but those are stories for another video. But I would be carrying 70 pounds of gear. And then you throw a rifle on that, you throw ammunition on that. Depending where we go, I might have to carry water in. That's one of the wonderful things about up here is we have so many lakes and streams. When I've hiked sections of the North Country Trail, I don't really worry about it because, oh, look over there. There's a stream. Oh, okay, well, I can just go and fill up my water bottle. It's a Life Straw filter bottle, so, or my Camelback that I've an inline Sawyer filter. Anyway, I could talk about that stuff all day, but the thing is, I know what I have to do. I think we know what we have to do to be in shape, to be able to do what we want to do. And like you said, Jordan, I want to be able to do this for years to come. My daughter is 4 years old. She'll be 5 here in a few months. I take her out in the woods with me. I'm trying to teach her about different types of trees and animal tracks and, safety on the trail. And um, I want to be able to get out in the woods and do that. I don't want my injuries or complications from diabetes or any other issue to stop me from doing the things I want to do. I'm still deep down that same dude that sat on top of that 60-foot ridge and said, man, I dread the day I can't physically do this anymore. And the longer I can stave off that day, the better it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and especially for something like a Colorado elk hunt, this must have been about 20 years ago. I knew this farmer in Iowa, and I was over at one of his shops, and he had a couple of elk skulls mounted in his shop. And I had told him at the time, I asked him about it, and he had shot both of them. And he must have been in his 60s at that point in time. And I said, yeah, I'd like to do that someday. And he said, do it sooner rather than later, because if you keep putting it off, you're going to be unable to do it. And in his, I don't know what his situation was, but he lost a leg from the knee down at some point before I had met him. And he tapped his fake leg there, his prosthetic leg, and said, no chance I could go do that now. And 60 is not too old by any measure to be out there. You just don't know what's going to happen in life. And I would like that not only can I do this hunt in my 40s, but also that if I decided in my 60s I want to go do it again, that I would be in good enough shape that I could do that. So it's just a matter of a change of lifestyle. I used to have a much more active job than what I currently have, and I was home every night and off on the weekends, and I was a member of a gym and all of that good stuff. And now I'm a truck driver, and I've been doing this for 5 years, 2 years independent, and guess what? I look like a truck driver. I have all the difficulties that come with living that kind of a life. So figuring out how do I take it to the next level is going to be an interesting challenge. And that's the way that I view it. It's not impossible. There are people who have been in all kinds of different circumstances who have achieved health improvement goals. So I just have to figure out what am I going to do with the restrictions that I have. And I don't intend to leave trucking. I love it. This is the best job I've ever had. I really thought I wanted to have an office job. And for years I worked towards that, and I got one, and I hated it. I turned into a 10-year-old boy at school, just staring at the clock all day long, waiting for it to be time to leave. And so this is the job for me. I love it. I find it to be very interesting and enjoyable, and I have a lot of fun with it. So one of my challenges is going to be after I do my workout routine and I'm gross and sweaty, how do I get a shower every day? That will be an interesting challenge to get all of that stuff ironed out. There's a lot of logistics to working out on the road that I don't fully even understand yet, because I've never done this on the road. This is new for me. So it will be interesting, but this is the way forward. This is what's going to make it possible for me to continue doing the things that I love in my free time. And I think it'll just have benefits all across the board anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to have more strength, more endurance, more stamina, and feel physically better?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's important to make these changes now. Even, yes, we're wanting to make these changes to be in shape for an elk hunt here in a couple years. But even more than that, we still want to be able to do the things outdoors that we love to do. I mean, before before I changed jobs, I remember I would just stare at the clock all day, or, I would be driving the bus and I'd be going right past the places that I love to dive, or be going up the hill on the side of the mountain that I love to hike on, and it was like just absolutely soul crushing. and and then now with this job, yeah, okay, so basically between the hours of 8 and 4:30, yeah, I've got work to do. But I'll tell you, the last week of November, I'm going to take my laptop out to the cabin, and I'm going to work and deer hunt at the same time from inside the cabin. I have that kind of freedom with my job. I might take some days off just to hunt, because I mean, what I love to do is, if the deer hunting sucks and it's in the middle of the day, okay, let's do some bushcrafting stuff. Let's teach some skills, stuff like that. But I really think that getting in shape is not only good for our overall health, but if we want to continue doing all the things that we love to do, these are
Yeah.
changes we're going to have to make. So in the coming weeks, basically the format that we're going to use is every couple weeks, both Jordan and I are going to hop on here, make a video about our progress. We'll have pictures, stories. Like I have a log of like my blood sugars, my weight. I'm going to weigh in every Friday, and then just keeping you guys informed of what we're doing. And this is part of the accountability process. Like, I look at Jordan as helping me stay accountable. I'm sure he feels likewise.
Absolutely.
And if this video series, because that's what this is going to be, we're going to be basically documenting our progress on this journey. If this helps someone out there who feels like, well, I can't get in the right shape to do the things I love to do, join us in this yourself, and let this be encouraging to you. And that's what we really want. Yeah, okay, so I'm in my late 30s, Jordan is in his early 40s, and do a lot of people develop health problems during this time? Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like that if you recognize it and you work on it. And I mean, most of the outdoorsmen I know are bigger guys that have a lot of the same issues. So if someone can take some encouragement from this, and it inspires you to get in better shape, not only so you can do the things you love, but just for a better quality of life. That's what we really want to help accomplish with this series. So we'll be coming out with more content in the series. So as always, guys, we appreciate if you would like and subscribe. I appreciate the new subscribers. Also, I'll put a link for our Facebook page in the description. I'm trying to make sure that I keep Facebook updated. Yes, I work for a tech company that specializes in marketing. I'm trying to get over to Facebook for social media marketing there. But share these videos, share about the channel. We're trying to grow this. And in the coming days and weeks, we're going to be putting out more content. So appreciate the subscribers. Like, subscribe, share. And as always, guys, come join the adventure. We appreciate it. Take care. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.